You know that feeling, right? After you meet someone new, or even just thinking back on a conversation, your brain just replays it, but it focuses only on the mistakes.
Right, yeah. The awkward pause, the joke that didn't land. Maybe you shared something a bit too specific about yourself.
Exactly. We treat those little quirks, those unique bits of us, like they're huge problems, things we absolutely have to hide to connect with people.
We really do. We become our own worst critics.
But what if?
Mm.
What if that whole internal critique is just, well, wrong? Okay, let's
Yeah.
unpack this. We're diving into some material today that totally flips that idea on its head.
Mm-hmm.
Our mission here is to look at those very things we call flaws, our insecurities, and figure out why, psychologically speaking, they're often the exact things other people find really attractive.
Genuinely magnetic, yeah. They're not weaknesses at all. They're more like signals, high-fidelity signals, actually.
Signals of what, though?
Well, what's fascinating is the disconnect, isn't it? We judge these traits based on how they make us feel inside, like the anxiety that comes with being shy or feeling mortified when you trip over nothing.
Yeah, it's all internal discomfort.
Exactly. And that makes it almost impossible to see how those same qualities look from the outside, the value they offer to others. We've got to stop seeing them as personal failures,
And start seeing them
as maybe unguarded invitations for authenticity, for approachability.
okay, so it's about shifting perspective. You know how you feel, but not always how you come across.
Precisely.
We found, I think, 8 distinct qualities in the sources that really challenge the usual ideas about attraction. Let's dig into the first cluster. This one's all about vulnerability and contrast.
Sounds good.
First up, shyness. The person who speaks quietly, hangs back a bit, maybe fidgets when they're the center of attention. You probably think you're just putting up a wall, right? Like you're failing to connect.
Right. It feels like a failure from the inside. But the appeal of shyness is actually quite deep, mainly because it offers such a strong contrast.
Contrast to what?
Well, think about the social world today. It feels like everyone is just shouting, clamoring to be noticed, constantly performing.
Yeah, it can be exhausting.
Exactly. So the shy person, they're like a breath of fresh air. Instantly, they seem more intriguing, maybe a bit mysterious, but also more grounded, more down to earth.
Interesting. So it's not automatically seen as being cold or uninterested.
Not at all. In fact, that quietness often makes people assume you're a better listener, a really good listener.
Because you're not fighting for airtime.
Precisely. When you aren't trying to dominate the conversation, the vibe is that you're actually absorbing what's being said. That signals patience, maybe depth. It makes the other person feel genuinely heard.
Which is pretty rare.
Incredibly rare. That silence can be magnetic. It draws people in rather than pushing them away.
Okay, so that's the quiet, sort of intellectual contrast of shyness. What about the physical side? Let's talk about clumsiness.
Ah, yes. The minor mishap.
Spilling the drink, tripping up the stairs, bumping into the door frame.
Yeah.
That feeling of physical awkwardness is just mortifying.
Deeply embarrassing for the person experiencing it, for sure. But this is another classic example of a trait that externally signals high sincerity.
How so? Just because you tripped.
Well, clumsiness makes someone seem more genuine, less guarded. It often gives off a vibe of being a bit youthful or excitable, like you're just so engaged in the moment that your body can't quite keep up.
Okay, I can sort of see that, but how does dropping your keys translate into actual attraction?
The sources point to a really specific dynamic here. It often activates this desire in others to, well, help, to contribute. When you have a little mishap, you create this immediate, very low-stakes chance for someone else to step in, to steady you, pick up what you dropped, offer a napkin, whatever it is.
It makes them feel useful.
Exactly. It taps into a pretty fundamental human drive to feel needed, to be of service in some small way. It creates an instant mini connection, a moment of shared humanity. It makes the clumsy person seem approachable, not intimidatingly perfect.
That desire to feel useful, that flows right in the next point, doesn't it? Being easily embarrassed.
Yes, absolutely.
That instant flush, the blush that creeps up your neck, maybe covering your face when someone teases you lightly, it feels like you're completely exposed.
Totally exposed. And that's precisely the point. It's like a visual confirmation of genuineness.
Visual confirmation.
Yeah. When your emotional reaction, that blush, maybe a little nervous giggle is right there on the surface, immediate and uncontrollable. You're basically proving in real time that you're not hiding anything.
Yeah.
You can't fake a blush easily.
So you're like an open book emotionally.
Exactly, an open book of emotion. And that transparency, that honesty, is actually highly valued. It's refreshing.
But couldn't it also make you seem, I don't know, fragile or overly sensitive?
Maybe sometimes, but more often it just confirms that you're accessible. Like the clumsiness point, it signals sincerity without the other person having to work for it. They see the blush, they know exactly how you're feeling in that moment.
There's no guesswork involved.
None. That certainty is actually really comforting for people. It tells them they don't have to decode your reactions or play mind games. Your emotional state is just right there, easy to read.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That kind of unguarded openness feels like a good transition into our next theme, which is more about intensity and character depth.
Right.
Let's talk about nerdy or geeky passions, being really, maybe even obsessively into something a bit obscure. Could be anything: comic books, anime, complex board games, obscure history.
Deep dives into very specific worlds.
Yeah, and you worry that your passion is just weird or too niche for anyone else to care about.
The attraction here isn't usually about the subject itself, though. It's about the passion, the sheer depth of commitment and drive that's visible.
So it's not my detailed knowledge of Middle-earth lore. It's the fact that I have detailed knowledge.
Precisely. It's the how, not the what. That intensity, that ability to focus so deeply on something complex and love it, that's passion. And passion is like transferable energy. It's compelling.
Okay, explain that transferable energy bit.
Well, the subconscious read is something like, wow, if they can be that dedicated, that excited, that driven by, say, building miniature trains, imagine what that intensity and focus would be like directed towards a relationship or a shared goal.
Ah, so it suggests potential for deep investment, reliability even.
Exactly. It hints at a capacity for powerful emotional commitment. It's the very intensity they might get criticized for that actually makes them magnetic.
Right, okay. And if that nerdy passion is about what you love, the next trait, being too honest, is about how you communicate. Everything.
Straight shooter.
Yeah, always saying exactly what you mean, maybe without the usual social padding. We often worry that just comes across as blunt or, worse, abrasive.
And sometimes it might. But in a world that often feels full of, polite fictions and people saying what they think you want to hear, direct honesty can be incredibly valuable. It signals efficiency.
Efficiency? How so?
For people who are tired of mind games, tired of trying to figure out what someone really means, honesty means a low-friction interaction. They know you're not going to waste their time beating around the bush.
You'll just say the thing.
You'll just say the thing. What needs to be heard? It cuts through the ambiguity.
But isn't there a really fine line there between being refreshingly direct and just lacking social grace, which could definitely be off-putting?
There is a line, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it often comes down to intent and delivery. The attractive quality of being too honest usually comes from a place of transparency, refusing to hide the truth for manipulation's sake, not trying to deliberately wound someone.
So it's about integrity, not aggression.
Exactly. It acts as an anchor. It assures the other person that if they ask for your opinion, they'll get the real deal. That builds a foundation of trust that, for many people, outweighs the occasional sting of hearing something difficult. It's fundamentally respectful communication, even if it feels a bit jarring sometimes.
Okay, that directness, that clarity.
Yeah.
It brings us to our last theme, the sort of comfort found in openness and maybe a different pace. Let's talk about the oversharer.
Ah, the classic TMI person.
Totally. The person who maybe shares a bit too much, a bit too fast, and then often immediately regrets it, convinced they've just wearied the other person out with their sudden vulnerability.
We've all been there, probably. But the oversharer, maybe accidentally, is actually tapping into something powerful. Let's call it the rapid trust model.
Rapid trust model. Okay.
Because you come across as an immediate open book, you seem incredibly sincere. And crucially, you seem non-threatening. You're basically lowering the bar for vulnerability right down to the floor.
Huh. So it's not just about me getting something off my chest. It's about what it signals to the listener.
Absolutely. Your openness creates this surprisingly comfortable space. By sharing things that maybe others keep hidden, you make it psychologically easier and safer for the other person to open up too.
It encourages reciprocity.
Exactly. It can accelerate that feeling of closeness and intimacy much faster than the usual cautious, gradual reveal model of getting to know someone. You're demonstrating trust right out of the gate. And all you're really asking for is acceptance. That's a powerful invitation.
Okay, shifting gears slightly for number 7. Taking things slow or overthinking.
The deliberator.
Yeah, the person who takes ages to make a decision because they're weighing every single angle, running through all the what-ifs. Internally, it can feel like analysis paralysis, just frustrating inertia.
Internally, yes, gridlock. But externally, it often signifies groundedness, stability.
How does slowness read as stable?
It suggests you're a deep thinker. Someone who likes to observe, to really understand a situation before jumping in or forming an opinion. You savor things, maybe. You prefer a sense of calm over constant chaos.
And that's appealing.
To certain people, very much so. Especially those who might be tired of the frantic energy of constant excitement chasers. The overthinker offers a contrast, a sense of peace, perhaps.
So the overthinker isn't seen as indecisive, but as thoughtful, a stabilizing presence.
It can definitely be perceived that way. It suggests permanence, careful consideration. It makes people around them feel that choices aren't being made lightly, which fosters a sense of security. They offer that quiet contrast, a space where thoughtful decisions are valued.
Okay. And that brings us to the final quality, one that I think a lot of people actively try to suppress: craving support. This is openly wanting warmth or sympathy or encouragement from others. It often gets slapped with the label of being needy or desperate, especially in cultures that really value independence.
Right, we're taught to be self-sufficient, aren't we? But this craving, it might be the most direct way we fulfill that other person's desire to feel useful, which we touched on earlier.
How does asking for help make them feel good?
When someone honestly and openly asks for support, whether it's just kind words, a hug, help with a task, or simply focused attention, it can be incredibly attractive. Why? Because it fulfills the partner's deep-seated desire to feel genuinely essential in your life.
You give them a clear role, a way to contribute.
Perfectly put. It provides a clear roadmap for contribution. If you hide your needs, if you pretend you're fine when you're not, your partner is left guessing. They don't know how to connect, how to help, how to matter to you.
But when you ask,
When you express that need for warmth or reassurance, you are handing them a defined way to connect, to contribute, to feel important. It validates their role in your life. And that taps into a fundamental reward system in our brains. We like feeling needed by people we care about.
Wow. Okay. So looking back at all 8 of these: shyness, clumsiness, getting embarrassed easily, nerdy passions, being too honest, oversharing, taking things slow, craving support. What's the common thread here?
Well, authenticity is part of it, sure, but I think that's maybe too broad. It's more functional than that, isn't it?
Functional how?
Every single one of these perceived flaws acts as a powerful signal. A signal of high sincerity, yes, but they also serve a distinct purpose in building connection. In relationship architecture, you could say.
Okay, break that down. What purposes?
If we zoom out, these traits seem to do one of a few things. They either create that refreshing sense of mystery or intrigue, like shyness,
Right.
or they foster rapid intimacy through demonstrated vulnerability, like oversharing or even blushing. Or, perhaps most profoundly, they fulfill that core human desire in the other person to feel needed, to feel valuable. Clumsiness, craving support, they invite the partner in.
So they're not actually barriers to connection.
They're mechanisms for connection, often very effective ones. Which really brings up a crucial question for you, listening right now. When you think about the things you criticize most harshly in yourself, maybe it's that nervous habit or your tendency to ramble about your hobbies or needing reassurance, are you only thinking about how uncomfortable they make you feel? Or are you starting to recognize the potential value they offer to others? The way they might actually be genuine, unguarded invitations for closeness.
It's definitely time to challenge that inner voice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Stop trying to sand down the edges that might actually be the most interesting, the most inviting parts of you.
Absolutely. You've heard the deep dive. The material's pretty clear. Sometimes our greatest insecurities are, paradoxically, our most direct paths to real intimacy.
So a final thought to leave people with.
Well, if you think about it, if the opposite of an attractive quality is often detachment or emotional distance, then maybe every single flaw we've talked about today, the awkwardness, the vulnerability, the intense focus, the neediness, is actually just a raw, unfiltered expression of human connection.
Not a lack of something, but an abundance of it.
Exactly. So the question becomes, what parts of yourself have you been hiding away, thinking they're weaknesses, when they might actually be profound invitations for someone else to step closer, connect, and feel truly needed in your world?
Something to definitely think about.